India must commit to net zero emission. So again, this was an important editorial in The Hindu, that is on 2nd of September 2021. Now this editorial talks about the need for India to take a stand on climate change action. Now first we will understand what is the issue that has been discussed in this editorial. So remember that over 50% of the global economy has already committed to net zero emission by 2050. Even China has also committed to net zero emission, that is before 2060. Or you can say, in other words, over 100 countries have already committed to net zero emission, means no emission by 2050, and more can be expected at COP26, that is in Glasgow in November December. Now India is not committed to it, or you can say India is purposely not committed to net zero by 2050. That is including on the basis that as a developing country, it needs to see significant support from developed countries for climate action as a part of making any such commitment. So India says कि अगर developed countries will support us, that is developing countries, then we will commit it. Now with these development, India is at the risk of being cast globally as an outlier on climate action, with a negative fallout if it fails to take a stand on climate change action. Now, why we need, or what India, you can say, why India needs to commit to net zero emission. So there are some reasons. Number one, that India is among the most vulnerable countries to climate change. As you know, it faces harmful impacts related to sea level rise, heat stress, drought, water stress, and flooding, as well as with respect to biodiversity and natural disaster. So, because of vulnerability, India must commit to it. Second, demand from a good organizations like IPCC, that is International Panel on Climate Change, which reported that, or says that, there is a need for urgent and stronger response in regard to climate change, as well as we have to increase our pace and scale of climate action, which must be increased as soon as possible. This is the second. Third, India is already the third largest emitter in the world and is said to be largest, as US, China and European Union are all now signed up to net zero. So सभी ने net zero commitment sign कर दी है except India. Or as I already told you कि in COP26 we can expect more countries to sign net zero emission commitment by 2050. So this is the third reason. Next, this will also impact India's international diplomacy. Means this applies not just to key relationship like with the US, but also with much of the groups like G77, who are increasingly concerned to see climate action, and also in multilateral groupings such as United Nations, ASEAN, or you can say APEC, etc. and etc. So this is the fourth. Next, if India must sign it. Why? Because the transition of the global economy to net zero emission is the biggest commercial opportunity in history. Why I am saying this? Why? Because if you see the investment graph, or you can say in just energy sector I talk about, around 1.6 or 3.8 trillion dollar investment is required every year, that is until 2050. And China is investing heavily in gaining an advantage in the technologies of the new economy, be it is renewable energy or its storage, electric energy, hydrogen transport, or you can say low emission industry, green cities, sustainable agriculture, etc. and etc. So China is investing in it, whereas India is lacking in these technologies. Also, government as well as businesses are increasing climate action in order to take the advantage of the massive opportunity arising as the global economy shifts to net zero emission. And if you see the graph also, or stats, earlier stats also, in 2020, investors injected over $500 billion into climate transitions. So these are some of the reasons India must go for net zero emission commitment, which India is not ready to sign. Also, if you see, India is set to significantly exceed its Paris Agreement commitment of reducing the emission intensity of its GDP. That is, we have set a target of 33 to 35% below 2005 level by 2030, providing ready room for higher ambition. So we have seen that already India has completed some of its target. So India must go. So this is another reason why India must go for its commitment for this net zero emission. Already we have increased our renewable energy target also, that is 450 gigawatts. Now if you see, we are a leader in international solar alliance also, and we are right now thinking about national hydrogen strategy also. So this can be another reason. And if you see our corporates also, that is private companies, Tata Group, which has win award, so many awards on sustainability. Same is with Mahindra Group, that is committing to net zero by 2040 and Reliance by 2035. So seeing these performance, we can say India must go for net zero emission. So this is all about this editorial, and this editorial is very much important for your mains examination, that is in GS paper 3 environment. Thank you.